Hey, Grand Rising, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever you're at this point. This is Chet coming back at you for a third attempt on this video. I'm trying to do this message. Hasatan has been fighting me not to do this message, but I'm going to keep doing it until um, I get this through because I feel it's an important message. Of course, he's the prince of the air, so he's gonna try to stop me to do it, but I'll keep doing it until I get it. I don't care how many times. He can go jump in a lake as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, this is my third attempt. My last time I tried twice yesterday, and my internet kept going out. Of course, again, he's the prince of the air. He'll control that. So I wanted to make sure I get it through this time. So I waited till today. Um, so the message I have is pretty much, do you guys really know Yahuwah's love between brethren, is what I'm saying. Um, do we really know his love between each other? Because I've been seeing a lot of people on his platform putting people down, criticizing each other, disrespecting each other. And we're not supposed to be that way, you know. And I think it's important that we talk about that and go back to the basics of how important it is for us to be under one accord and to love each other like family, you know, and not put each other down. And I believe that's what's been happening throughout, uh, since I've noticed on being on here since 2018. There's been a lot of that going on, you know, because we're all separated. I believe we're all divided between different doctrines, different names of acknowledgement, and different calling on different mighty ones and things like that. So there's been going a lot of division as well among us, and we're supposed to be the set apart ones. Another thing I was going to talk about is, some of you have asked me why I changed my profile name. Um, well, the reason I changed my profile name is because I felt like the Ruach was convicting me of using that name, because we all know that name belongs to the one Almighty Yahuwah. So it used to be Yahuwah Yirah, so I went back to my real name, and it sort of felt like a conviction because I'm not worthy to even carry that name. He is. So because of that strong conviction, I just decided to go back and go back by my name. So that's why I did that. So another thing is, I wanted to do that because I thought it was the right thing to do. But the reason I went back to it also, and then I tested something, and I found very interesting that as soon as I changed my profile name, I've gotten less friends requests, less posts to approve or deny. You know, uh, People don't want to be members now, which I find very interesting. You know, I find that very interesting, but it's not a bad thing because I feel it gives me more time to focus on other things, you know. So that's why I changed my profile name back to, because I don't deserve to have that name. None of us do. And some of you are using his name as a profile name. But for me, it was for a conviction in my heart. I didn't want to use it anymore, so I switched back. But I've noticed that less requests, friends requests, less people uh, join my groups. And then I thought, okay, just because I changed my name, so that tells me something. That's what kind of inspired me to do this type of message today. So what I have is I have three scriptures for you guys today. It's not going to be very long. Normally I would do reels, but I found out that my reels weren't getting uploaded now. So I'm starting to see that because I don't know why I kept getting upload errors. So I decided to do a live stream, see what happens there. So now I'm going to do three scriptures for you guys today. Again, the question is, do you really know Yahuwah's love, and what is that really entitled to? Okay. So the first scripture I'm going to go to is 1 Corinthians 13. That's where I'm going to go. Okay, so let's go to 13. Pretty much I'm going to read the whole thing. I want us to understand and remind ourselves what it really is between brethren. It says here in 1 Corinthians 13, it says, if I speak with the languages of men and of messengers, so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing at all. We are nothing, okay? We are nothing if you don't have love, okay? It says here, it doesn't matter what kind of ministry you have, it doesn't matter what kind of preacher you are. If you don't have love, then you are nothing, okay? That's what it's saying. And then let's go to 1 Corinthians 13:3. If I give out all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I give my body to be burned but do not have love, I am not profited at all. You don't profit from anything, right? It means it doesn't mean anything. Now here's the description. Love is patient. It is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. It is not puffed up. Okay, some of you brag about your, not all of you, but I've seen some of you brag about your ministries. Some of you brag like you think you know more than everyone else. We're supposed to be humble. We're not supposed to have pride. That just builds up pride. Anytime you boast, you're building up pride, unless you're boasting in Yahuwah. It's different. But you're not supposed to boast about anything. Okay, so let's go. It says, does not behave indecently, does not seek its own, it's not provoked, reckons not the evil, does not rejoice over the unrighteousness. Love doesn't rejoice over evil. Okay, and then some of us are doing that. What does that mean? That means like you're going around and putting people down. You're going around and making somebody feel this just because they don't know something. That's where brotherly, sisterly love comes in. You lift that person up. You educate them. There's a saying, don't hate, educate somebody, especially someone who's new in the faith. Okay, you want to do that. You want to show that brotherly, sisterly love towards that person. Okay, it says, does not rejoice over righteousness, but rejoices in the truth. Love will rejoice in his truth. Right? We should have love for knowing the truth and showing that love to someone else who's also in the truth, and also to someone who's not. You want to have that compassion for someone who doesn't know the truth yet, instead of bringing them down. They're already lost. You don't need to make them feel any worse. I've noticed on here, a lot of us care more about the 99 than the one that got away. The one that wants to come in and be part of the 99 is getting pushed away because we focus so much on between ourselves that we forget there's other souls out there. There's other people out there that want to know the truth. We forget about that. You know, we can't do that. Here's another thing. It covers all, believes all, expects all, endures all. Love will endure everything, regardless of what it is. Nowadays, I don't believe that exists, because nowadays, to be honest with you, okay, nowadays, love comes with conditions. You notice that? I love you, but. I hear that a lot with couples. I hear a lot of that with people in relationships. That's not what love is. It should be unconditional. There shouldn't be any conditions. You should be saying, I love you no matter what. Right? That goes between brothers and sisters as well. It's not just between couples. I'm talking about between us, the set apart. We need to think that way. And then it says, love never fails, and whether there be prophecies, they all shall be inactive, or languages, they shall cease, or knowledge, it shall be inactive. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part shall be inactive. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I thought as a child. I reasoned as a child. But when I became a man, I did away with childish matters. For now we see in mirror dimly, but then the face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know, as I also have been known. And now belief, expectation, and love remains. More like faith and love, right? These three, but the greatest of these is love. You're nothing if you don't have love for your fellow mishpachah. You're nothing if you have a great ministry, if you have, if you're a great preacher, whatever you do, your calling and all that. But if that love of Yahuwah is not in you, you're nothing. You don't belong to him. I see that a lot on here. Some of you are just so damn selfish and with pride. That's why I don't bother with you. I don't follow no man on this platform. Never have. We have to have that love of the family between us, right? So that we can show that to those who don't know Yahuwah. We show the love and compassion towards them because we have that between us. Like, we're so divided between different doctrines, different mighty ones you worship, so much, different beliefs, and so many people leaving people astray. We're so divided. He's not going to come back for a filthy, dirty, nasty bride. That's what we are right now. I believe we are. We're not in one accord. He's going to spit us out of his mouth. He's not going to want us. Not like this. And we're running out of time. We don't have much time left. We need to get our act together. Okay? We need to get our act together and get back on the right track under one mindset, under one accord, and being able to have that love. Because what did he say? His greatest commandment is to love one another as I loved you, right? That's what he wanted us to do. All right, let's go to the next one. I have three. Like I said, I have three. I'm not making this very long. So let's go to Yochanan Aleph, or 1 John, chapter 4. And we're going to go from 1 through 12. Okay, so this is one of the other ones that I'm going to read, okay? By the way, before I read this, okay, I want to mention one thing. Yes, I have followers. I have close to 6,000 followers. I have 3,000 friends on my profile, okay? I want you guys to know that. But I don't know every single one of you. My circle is so small. I only know a handful of you that I actually talk to. And one of the things I do is test the spirits. I test the spirits of everyone that I talk to on here. I test the spirits of everyone that I meet out on the street that's a believer or even a non-believer. I test the spirits because we're commanded to do that, right? And let me tell you why. As the scripture says, beloved ones, do not believe every spirit, but prove the spirits or test the spirits, whether they are of Elohim, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. There's many false teachers on this platform and other platforms that are out there. 2 of them I know are Freemasons that are on here teaching. And these guys got like thousands of followers. Why? Because they're hearing stuff that sounds good to them. Okay? They are hearing things that sound good. So of course, when something's attracted, you're going to go ahead and follow that person. They make things sound really good. Those of you who are doing that, let me tell you something. You're no different than those prosperity preachers that are in Christianity. You're doing the same thing. You're saying things that sound good, right? You're promising them false faith. And on top of that, some of you are charging to be part of your ministry group. Prosperity preachers do that. They say things that are false. Oh, if you give this much, you'll get many blessings. You cannot buy blessings and you cannot buy salvation. Some of you are doing that. I've noticed. That's why I don't follow you. He said not to follow man, but to come and follow me. That's why if you see my profile, say 0 following, because I don't follow man. And some of you follow the actual Sabbath today that you claim. I don't. I go by a different calendar. I will not follow man's tradition. Okay? I'm still learning that calendar myself. I will not follow any man's tradition because I'm not. I'm already studying it. I'm already looking into it. I'm learning how to count the proper moon cycles. I know some of you don't think that the lunar cycle and all that stuff we should follow because it throws us off. But if you read Enoch 78, Jubilee 6, you will find out there is a pattern. If you want to know. I will not follow any man tradition. But anyway, let's keep going. By this you know that the spirit of Elohim, every spirit that confesses that Yahushua Messiah has come in the flesh is Elohim. And every spirit that does not confess that Yahushua Messiah has come in the flesh is not of Elohim. And this is the spirit of the anti-Mashiach, which you heard is coming and now is already in the world. Yeah, he is here. He's just getting ready to reveal himself. Right? We know that. Question is, are you going to follow Yahuwah, or are you going to follow a false Messiah? Because it says in Revelation that many of the elect, their hearts will get cold. In other words, they're going to give up and follow the anti-Mashiach. That's what's going to happen. Okay, we need to know the difference. We need to test the spirits. We need to watch the fruits of people, especially within the brethren, between the mishpachah. You ever heard that saying, where it says, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer? Because you want to make sure that who you are fellowshipping with is a true believer. It's not going to lead you astray. And anybody that you follow on platforms, make sure that they are aligning with Scripture. Because there are many smooth talkers on here. All right, let's keep going. It says, you are of Elohim, little children, and have overcome them, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. They are of the world, therefore they speak as of the world, and the world hears them. Isn't that interesting? Anybody who is of the world is going to hear those of the world. So what does that mean? He's like false prophets. You're going to hear something with itchy ears. Ooh, that sounds interesting. That sounds right. Boom, without researching it yourself. But then it says here, we are of Elohim. The one knowing Elohim hears us. He who is not of Elohim does not hear us. In other words, those who don't want to hear the truth. Those of you who don't want to even bother, you are not his. It says here, by this we know that the spirit of truth and the spirit of delusion. The spirit of delusion is going wild right now in this world. There are so many people who are lying, who are deceiving people. And unfortunately, some of them are in the mishpachah that are telling people lies, that are like smooth talkers. Because again, we're running out of time. We don't have time to waste to listen to foolishness, to listen to doctrines of demons, to listen to people who have a spirit of delusion. He said in Matthew 24, let no man deceive you. Okay, he said, let no man deceive you. But many of you have been deceived. Okay, let's continue. He said, beloved ones, let us love one another, because love is of Elohim, or Yahuwah. And everyone who loves has been born of Elohim and knows Elohim. If you have the love of Yahuwah, you know him and you are his. Plain and simple. Let's go to 8. He said, the one who does not love does not know Elohim, for Elohim is love. By this, the love of Elohim was manifested in us, and that Elohim has sent his only brought forth Son into the world in order that we might live through him. That's love right there. He gave up his only Son, right? He gave up his only Son so that we may have life through him. That's what we do. That's the kind of love I'm talking about. And it says here, and this is love, not that we loved Elohim, but he that loved us and sent his Son, right, to be an atoning offer for our sins. Beloved ones, if Elohim has so loved us, we also ought to love one another. That brotherly, sisterly love, we need to have that between each other. Not put each other down, not debating, not complaining. So many of you are doing that. Even in my groups. I made it clear that if you start doing division and all, I kick you out. Zero tolerance for that. There was groups that I was in and I got out because there was too much of that going on. I will not put up with it. You can say all you want of all your, gifts, ministry, and all that. Again, but if you don't have that love of Yahuwah, you're nothing. It doesn't matter. He looks at the heart. He doesn't care what you look like. He looks at the heart. And if you don't have that love of Yahuwah in your heart, then you're nothing. Again, you can be doing all this ministry, all this wonderful things. But as it's said in 1 Corinthians 13, one of the first things it says, if you don't have that love, you're nothing. That goes with every relationship. Let me finish. The last verse. Well, let's go back to 11. It says, Beloved ones, if Elohim so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has seen Elohim at any time. If we love one another, Elohim does stay in us. His love has been protected in us. His love's in us if we honor him. If we love one another, his love stays in us. I'm talking about love, not lust. They're a different thing. Those are two different things. Right? Okay, let me go on to the next one. So the next one I'm going to do is found in, let me get there, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Now let's go to verse 9. Okay. We're going to go to verse 9. All the way till the end, which is 18. It says, now let's go on. It says, we allowed to love. Okay, let's start again. And it is not necessary to write to you about brotherly love, for you yourselves are taught by Elohim to love one another. For in fact, you do so toward all brothers who are in all Macedonia. But we call upon you, brothers, that you do so more and more. We need to love each other more and more, and to make it your ambition to live peacefully and to attend to your own, to work with your own hands as we commanded you, so that you behave decently toward those who are outside and not be in any need. Again, who's the people outside? The ones who don't believe, who need to hear the word. We need to have that love for them as well, not just for us. What did Yahusha do when he came here? He had love and compassion for those who did not know him. He came here for the sinners, not the righteous. His whole objective was to save as many people as possible, to get as many people to follow him. That's why I say, he said to come follow me, not man. So many of you are following these people on this platform. They're not going to save you. I doubt if they're even going to help you. They're so focused on what? Followers, making money off his name, which a lot of you are doing. Some of you are proudly displaying that stuff, which again, you're worshiping the creation, not the creator. Because again, not to get off subject, he said, do not make any graven images or likeness. But a lot of you still do that. Some of you are wearing necklaces with his name on it, thinking like that's going to save you. It doesn't. You either have salvation or you don't. The two things we should focus on these last days and these last times, salvation and revelation times. Those two. Because that's what we need. So many people need salvation, and some people need to hear about revelation times to warn them. Ezekiel 33 tells us to do that, to go out and warn them so that their blood is not on your hands. All right, let's keep going. 13. It says, now, brothers, we do not wish you to be arrogant concerning those who have fallen asleep, lest you be sad as others who have no expectation. What does it mean that the falling asleep? Those who are dead in him. For if we believe that Yahusha died and rose again, so also Elohim shall bring with him those who sleep in Yahusha. For this we say to you by the word of the Master, that we, the living, who are left over the coming of the Master, shall in no way go before those who are asleep. So what is it saying? It's saying that he's going to raise those who are dead in him first. Correct? That's who is going to do it. All right. Then it says 17. It says, then we, the living who are left over, shall be caught away in the air with the cloud with, excuse me. I'm sorry, I skipped one. Let me go back. I apologize. It says, because the Master himself shall come down from Shammai. Now, this is talking about the end time. It says, because the Master himself shall come down from Shammai with a shout, with the voice of the chief messenger, and with the trumpet of Elohim, and the dead in Messiah shall raise first. Then we, the living, who are left over, shall be caught away together with them in the cloud to meet the Master in the air. And so we shall always be with the Master. So then encourage one another with these words. That's what he's telling us. Now, a lot of you Christianity people, Christians, think this is a rapture thing. This is where you get your rapture doctrine from, which was a lie, because the rapture thing started way back in the 1800s by a woman. So you created this whole new doctrine saying that we're waiting for the rapture, pre-mid, mid-trib, after. That stuff doesn't exist. He said at the end that those who endure shall be saved. I wanted to point that out because many of you are believing this lie. Okay? That the rapture, so-called, the word rapture is not even in there. I'm not going to believe anything if it's not in there. Okay? I'd rather go back to the ancient books, read that part to believe than to read something that was made up by man. Like I said, I don't follow tradition of man. And again, some of you are still following the Saturday Sabbath, which is not every Saturday. Yes, it has hit on certain days, on certain times on Saturday. But then we got what coming up? The New Year, right in April. That's going to start the real New Year. We got that coming up. You know. But of course, some of you are going to do Easter and all this garbage thing that has been made up by man, you know, because that has nothing to do with resurrection or anything. You guys call it Resurrection Sunday. Okay? Sunday's not even the seventh day. On top of that. All right? And this calendar has been deceptive for centuries that you guys are following. You know, because every day means how you guys are worshiping a certain mighty one. Saturday is what? The god of Saturn. Right? Then you have all these other days that mean something. That's why I don't follow it. It is a lie. It was created by Greeks, Romans, paganists. They all created this stuff. And everybody that likes to follow it. You know. To answer your question, yeah, I do mind by the moon cycles and all that. Yeah, I follow a calendar following that, because if you read Enoch, again, it'll tell you the moon cycles. If you read Jubilee 6, yes, it'll tell you something like that. So for your question, Chase, yes, I do follow that. Yes, I have that same app. Yes, sir, I do. I follow that. But just to let you know, okay, if you guys want to do the Saturday thing every day, go ahead. That's up to you. But that's a different message I can do. I just wanted to tap real quick on that. I don't bother with following tradition of man. This one is about what I was just talking about, was the love of brethren between brethren, because we have too many divisions going on. Okay? There is too much division going on here in this platform. You know, and like I was telling you at the beginning, this is my third time trying to do this message because Hasatan is fighting me on this. He didn't want me to get this message out because his days are numbered. That's why. I tried twice yesterday. Internet went out because he doesn't want me to do, but I did it today. Okay? And like I said, he can go jump in the lake for all I care. But the thing is, I needed to get this across to you guys because I am seeing too many divisions in the mishpachah. Okay? We need to get on the same page. We need to get on the same mindset. We got to stop fighting among each other because he told us to love one another. When we do this, guys, when we're like constantly debating, constantly fighting, constantly bringing someone down, you're giving Hasatan the laugh of his life. Okay? You're giving Hasatan the laugh of his life. He's right now sitting back laughing at you because he knows he caused division. Even if you're a great teacher, even if you're a great person that does ministry, he gets you to do that, you're not as strong as you think. Okay? Hasatan knows the scriptures too, probably better than we do. The only difference is he likes to twist them. You know? Not everybody's got it correct. Not everybody's going to be right. Okay? Because we've been lied to so much between our past beliefs, our past lives, our past selves from people who told us stuff that was all a lie. Now it's getting it's getting more easier. The more you study, the more you understand. The more you go back to the Paleo Hebrew, the more you study the ancient scriptures, you'll get a better understanding. Okay, you'll get a better understanding of what the truth is instead of believing a lie. Remember that saying that they will hate you for the truth but love you for a lie? That's what's going on right now. People are saying things that are not true that people are loving to hear, itchy ears and all that, and then they become followers. You hear different doctrines nowadays. You read different doctrine books. You have what? The True Scriptures, which is from Promote the Truth. I don't read that. You got the Sefer, which was written by also a Freemason. I don't read that one at all. True Scriptures was written by a Mason as well, Freemason. You have other scriptures out there, especially the Christian translations. All those we know are wrong because you have LOD in there and GOD in it. So I have a very small thing of references I use. Okay, there's a very small percentage of references I use because I refuse to be lied to. Sorry, guys, I tried to cut off again. But that's what I do. Okay? I'm trying to get you guys to understand to treat each other with respect. That's all this message was about. Treat each other with respect, love, kindness, understanding, compassion, instead of getting on each other for no reason. We need to get on that same page. So that's all I had before. I don't want to get kicked off again. I think I finally got my message through. I wanted to come on here and give you guys this little quick message because I normally do longer ones, but I decided not to because it seems to be that I'm getting my message more across when they're shorter. So I'm going to start doing that. And normally I do reels. But I wanted you guys to understand my message today. If you guys have any questions, any prayer requests, feel free to connect with me on Messenger. Be happy to pray with you guys or anything like that. If you guys want to do that, that's fine. And like I said, I have a bunch of followers, which I don't care for to have followers. I'd rather have friends, So I'd rather do that than to worry about followers. I'm more about souls. I'm more about reaching people. That's why I have a page. It's called Warning to the Lost Souls. It's specifically for people who don't know Yahuwah to reach them. And that's something that I just wanted to let you guys know about out there, okay? So remember, it's not about followers, it's about souls. We need to go out there and reach those people. We need to go out there and tell them the good of Yahuwah. Show them the love through Yahuwah. And what I mean by love, action is more love than anything. You can say you love somebody, but then your actions can speak differently. For me, love is action, in other words. Your integrity means everything. Your word means everything. So you need to focus yourselves on being connected with one another in a good mishpachah way, not to be at each other's throats all the time. If you find someone like that who's constantly getting on you, block him or her, whoever it is. Don't bother with it. That's Hasatan trying to get into your life, trying to divide you. That's Hasatan trying to put frustration in your life. You have to have discernment too to tell the difference. Just like I read on there. Test the spirits. Watch for good fruit in people. You have to have that discernment to know who you're really talking to and who you're associating with. I know some of you are going through rough times. Some of you are experiencing homelessness. Some of you experiencing pain. That's a time when we need to get together and pray over you, pray with you. Say, hey, brother, sister, you're going to be okay. We love you. Something like that along the line where they feel like they're not alone. A lot of you feel alone. I've been there. But you're not. You have Yahuwah. If you have that small circle of people that'll pray with you, that'll love over you, that'll, do stuff like that. In other words, let the people that truly love you be part of your healing. Let them be part of your healing. Okay? Don't push anyone away if they're trying to be part of your healing. If they're trying to show you the love of Yahuwah, don't push them away. I know it's happened to me. I try to be part of someone's healing. Instead, I get blocked. We need to do that. Okay, well, that's all I have, guys. I didn't want this to go too long. I only had 3 scriptures. Normally I have 6, but I cut it down to 3 because I was able to do it today. I just took my kids and their mom over to some kind of art thing that they wanted to do. I didn't. I wanted to get on here and put Yahuwah first. It's not very long, but I'd rather do this than to reach you guys and to get you guys to remind yourselves of what we're supposed to have inside our hearts. If Yahuwah's in you, you have to have that love of Yahuwah in you. Okay? If you have hate in you, get it out of you. Give it to Yahuwah. Get rid of that heart of stone and have him give you a heart of flesh. Don't let your heart harden. If you have something that you're holding against somebody, give it to Yahuwah. He said, go and ask for forgiveness, and he will forgive you. That is one of the hardest things to do, is to ask for forgiveness versus giving forgiveness. Are you man or woman enough to do that? Get it out of you and give it to him. I do that too. I struggle with it. I've struggled with a lot of things. We all do. We all struggle with our things that we can't seem to get rid of. But sometimes he will use that, as you heard the saying, he will use that as a thorn in your side, like he did with Paul or Shaul, kept the thorn in his side to keep him humble, to keep him reminding himself. Sometimes he'll do that with us. Sometimes it could be a number of things to keep you humble, to remind you of who he is and how he's taking you out of the darkness that you were in. Now you're in the light. Right? He's done that. He's done it for me. But anyways, guys, that's all I have. Promise I'll get off now. I didn't mean to keep going, but I have so much I could keep saying, but I'd rather leave it at this, okay? But you guys, you take care of yourselves. Have a great Yom. I hope he gives you a Baruch Yom, and just stay faithful in him. Keep your mind, body, heart, soul, mind, blood, everything on him. Okay? Don't let man distract you from anything. Don't let him distract you from your walk. Stay on the narrow path. Okay? Don't take the easy way out. Because times are going to get rough. Times is running out. Okay? Time is going to be running out pretty soon. And so many people are not going to understand why. You know, yeah, Chase, I struggled with that myself. I did at one point. Okay. But you guys take care. You guys have a great yom, and I'll catch you next time. Okay. All right. Shalom.